A horn splits the silence. A scream echoes across the broken sky. Steel shears through flesh. Two figures stand drenched in blood, one in gleaming armor, one grinning with malice. They circle each other like ancient predators who know this is the end. Not one step back, not a single breath wasted. And then they charge. Steel meets trickery, order smashes chaos. And in the final heartbeat, both fall. They kill each other, two gods, mortal at last. But why? Why would the guardian die by the hand of the trickster? And why would the trickster choose him as his final adversary? This is not a tale of heroes and villains. This is the story of purpose and paradox, where watching becomes the fate no one escapes.
Unveil the legends.
Long before the sky cracked and bled fire and ice, before the world trembled on the brink, the cosmos lay quiet, not peaceful, fragile, like glass barely held. Together by threads no one could see, Heimdall stood at the outer edge of existence, a sentinel forged from starlight and storm. His eyes burned like golden suns. They didn't just see, they pierced every ripple in the worlds, every echoed whisper on every wind, every secret footstep in hidden shadows. His ears heard the near silent cry of a dying star, the distant groan of realities brushing too close together. He never slept, didn't need to. Every breath was vigilance, every heartbeat a warning. System, his job was simple, brutally simple. Watch, guard, prevent chaos from pouring over the brittle seams between realms. And then there was Loki. He did not arrive as conflagration, not at first. He arrived as curiosity, as laughter, as mischief glinting in human eyes, clever, charming, a shapeshifter whose smile could open doors no one saw, a liar whose words bent truths until they snapped like twigs. He was not evil, at least not at the beginning, devoured not by malice but by a hunger for change. Where Heimdall was stillness, Loki was movement. Where Heimdall saw structure, Loki saw cracks, questions instead of answers, patterns warped into chaos. They walked the same halls of gods, welcomed alike by Odin, yet something unspoken festered between them. Loki never feared doom. He didn't just mock fate. He'd pushed fate's face into the dirt, laughed, and walked away. Heimdall feared nothing, yet he prepared for death as though it were an old enemy waiting at his door. They were mirrors, one reflecting deception, one reflecting truth. Yet each saw in the other the thing they feared most, the unbearable possibility that the cosmos itself could unravel. It began with a stolen treasure, not just gold, not just beauty, but power worn like a heartbeat. Freyja's Brísingamen, a necklace forged by dwarves bright as living fire, infamous across the 9 worlds for lust and longing and the way it changed whoever wore it. Loki didn't want it. He needed it, not for greed. No, he coveted the chaos it invited. The deeper the disturbance, the sweeter his grin. So he stole it, not as himself, but in a guise as small and sinister as a whisper, a seal slipping under moonlit waves, cold sea, spray foaming waves, the glitter of Brísingamen clasped between his fingers. Loki dove into the abyss. He vanished into dark water like a lie into silence, what Heimdall always saw, always heard the whine of waves, the splash of scales against surf. He tracked the trickster, not because he wanted the jewel, but because he couldn't abide theft in the realm of gods. When Heimdall caught Loki, the sea became their battlefield. Flesh shifted, forms blurred. Seals, sleek and savage, tore at the cold waters. Heimdall's teeth bared. Loki's eyes sparked madness. No words, no treaties, Only brutal collision. Truth versus trickery in every snap of jaws and lash of tail. Heimdall wrestled, pulling Brísingamen from Loki's hold. But Loki didn't just lose a necklace. He lit a war that would never be forgotten. A guardian defending order. A trickster unraveling every tether. Enemies? Yes, but now locked in destiny, driven by more than theft. They were driven by the inevitable crush of fate itself. Here's the twist no one stops to consider. They weren't born enemies. They became enemies because they were destined to consume each other. Not by accident. By design, look deeper. Heimdall's power was vigilance. He saw everything. Loki's power was illusion. He hid everything. Loki could disguise truth. Heimdall could detect it. It's not just order versus chaos. It's perception versus deception. And at the root of every myth lies a fear humans never speak aloud. What if our eyes betray us? What if truth is an illusion? Loki wasn't just chaotic. He was the doubt that creeps into every human mind. He was the voice that tells you there is no truth. He was the mirror that shows your own weakness. And Heimdall, he was the glare of certainty in that mirror, the unblinking gaze that sees every secret. In the end, that's why they had to destroy each other, because a world where deception and truth exist in balance can never endure. Then came Ragnarok, the twilight of gods. The sky split, the sea boiled, the earth groaned like a dying beast. Loki led the giants. Heimdall sounded his horn, a blast so loud it woke every warrior, every spirit, every dying flicker of hope. They met on the battlefield, not by chance, but by fate's cruel design. No speeches, no hesitation, just steel meeting trickery, a stroke for every deception, a parry for every truth. Their deaths weren't accidents. They were necessary. The cosmos had to collapse. Order had to fall with chaos. Truth had to die with falsehood. It's brutal irony. The very thing Heimdall protected, stability, could only be preserved by falling, and the very thing Loki pursued, chaos, could only be unleashed by his own destruction. The world ended not with peace, but with certainty. Two gods, one truth, one lie, both dead, both necessary. If that doesn't make you wonder about the next story, ask this in the comments. If chaos and order destroyed each other, then what force rises from the ashes, and does it have a name? And just when you think Ragnarok was the final end, wait until you hear the sequel, The Child Who Outlived the Gods, and what he saw in the wounds of the dead world.